Farmer Boy. Cold Snap Part 2. I never saw corn grow so slowly, Father worried. He plowed the field again and again. Almanzo helped Royal to hoe the corn, but the little shoots stood still. On the 1st of July, they were only 4 inches high. They seemed to feel that danger threatened them and to be afraid to grow. It was 3 days to Independence Day, the 4th of July. Then it was 2 days. Then it was 1 day. And that night, Almanzo had to take a bath, though it wasn't Saturday. Next morning, they were all going to the celebration in Malone. Almanzo could hardly wait till morning. There would be a band and speeches, and the brass cannon would be fired. The air was still and cold that night, and the stars had a wintry look. After supper, Father went to the barns again. He shut the doors and little wooden windows of the horses' stalls, and he put the ewes with lambs into the fold. When he came in, Mother asked if it was any warmer. Father shook his head. "I do believe it's going to freeze," he said. "Surely not," Mother replied, but she looked worried. Sometime in the night, Almanzo felt cold, but he was too sleepy to do anything about it. Then he heard Mother calling, "Royal, Almanzo." He was too sleepy to open his eyes. "Boys, get up! Hurry!" Mother called. "The corn's frozen." He tumbled out of bed and pulled on his trousers. He couldn't keep his eyes open. His hands were clumsy, and big yawns almost dislocated his jaw. He staggered downstairs behind Royal. Mother and Eliza Jane and Alice were putting on their hoods and shawls. The kitchen was cold. The fire had not been lighted. Outdoors, everything looked strange. The grass was white with frost, and a cold green streak was in the eastern sky, but the air was dark. Father hitched Bess and Beauty to the wagon. Royal pumped the watering trough full. Almanzo helped Mother and the girls bring tubs and pails, and Father set barrels in the wagon. They filled the tubs and barrels full of water, and then they walked behind the wagon to the cornfield. All the corn was frozen. The little leaves were stiff and broke if you touched them. Only cold water would save the life of the corn. Every hill must be watered before the sunshine touched it, or the little plants would die. There would be no corn crop that year. The wagon stopped at the edge of the field. Father and Mother and Royal and Eliza Jane and Alice and Almanzo filled their pails with water, and they all went to work as fast as they could. Almanzo tried to hurry, but the pail was heavy and his legs were short. His wet fingers were cold. The water slopped against his legs, and he was terribly sleepy. He stumbled along the rows, and at every hill of corn, he poured a little water over the frozen leaves. The field seemed enormous. There were thousands and thousands of hills of corn. Almanzo began to be hungry, but he couldn't stop to complain. He must hurry, hurry, hurry to save the corn. The green in the east turned pink. Every moment the light brightened. At first the dark had been like a mist over the endless field. Now Almanzo could see to the end of the long rows. He tried to work faster. In an instant, the earth turned from black to gray. The sun was coming to kill the corn. Almanzo ran to fill his pail. He ran back. He ran down the rows, splashing water on the hills of corn. His shoulders ached and his arms ached, and there was a pain in his side. The soft earth hung onto his feet. He was terribly hungry, but every splash of water saved a hill of corn. In the gray light, the corn had faint shadows now. All at once, pale sunshine came over the field. "Keep on!" Father shouted. So they all kept on. They didn't stop. But in a little while, Father gave up. "No use," he called. Nothing would save the corn after the sunshine touched it. Almanzo set down his pail and straightened up against the ache in his back. All the others stood and looked too, and did not say anything. They had watered almost 3 acres. A quarter of an acre had not been watered. It was lost. Almanzo trudged back to the wagon and climbed in. Father said, "Let's be thankful we saved most of it." They rode sleepily down to the barns. Almanzo was not quite awake yet, and he was tired and cold and hungry. His hands were clumsy doing the chores, but most of the corn was saved.